almost looked like race day. Al Unser had an almost crash. Bobby Rahal is now not just a driver, he's an owner and a partner with this man, Carl Hogan. We'll talk to Bobby during our show tonight. All this as Countdown to Indy continues. Welcome to our garage area at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm Paul Page. We had a truly magnificent day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway today. Temperatures approaching 80 degrees, and many of the teams that are already qualified out trying to find out what it will take to run on race day. One of those, Al Unser. He was coming off of the fourth turn, trying to check out a full fuel load when he misjudged the exit to the corner just slightly. Look at this. We call that whitewalling him, and boy, I'll tell you what, it takes a great driver to do that and to continue on. We asked Al, was it his fault? What happened?
Well, I just messed up. I just was looking down at the gauges, trying to see whether I was coming off the corner, and I just drove it right in the fence. So I was more surprised than anybody. It was totally my fault. It didn't hurt it. It just scraped the fence, and they're just checking it over now to make sure everything's all right.
Somebody said that you didn't like the yellow and the Goodyear and you want to turn them back to white.
No, I didn't say that now. Don't put words in my mouth like that.
Kenny Bernstein's team was out working together today. Jim Crawford and Roberto Guerrero both lapping the speedway in a race setup above 226 miles an hour. They were trying to find out how the cars would handle in traffic, so they would get one in front of the other and lead the other around the track from time to time. So Crawford and Roberto looking very hard ahead to race day. We asked Roberto, how does the car handle in the higher temperatures?
Well, it seems to be a little frustrating with the track. You know, we felt we had it at a good stage yesterday, and we were kind of come out and reconfirm it today, and then today it feels really bad. So it's, you know, the track is changing very quickly. So I think, you know, race day on Sunday is going to be a little bit of a gamble.
In the final practice before qualifying on Sunday, Tony Bettenhausen had this problem with his car as he got the back end loose. Looked like he had something go wrong with the car and got oil under the tires. So car slid to a stop. Bettenhausen was uninjured and hopped right out of the car. And today he hopped into his other car and began to fit himself in and look ahead to possibly qualifying this weekend. Now, they're getting very far behind, though, because they'll only have a very short period of time to prepare for the race, assuming they qualify this weekend. We asked Tony, how far behind are you?
Well, you know, probably worst case scenario when you're right off a race car is a mental anguish than anything else. A few aches and pains, but it's a big setback for all the guys and myself as well. But you know, we came back today. We ran what we wanted to do for the first day out and got the driver settled down and got the car settled down. So we've got Thursday and Friday to get it to where we want to be, and we're going to be fine on Saturday.
Brian Bonner was out today in his brand new car out of the Dale Coyne stable. What should have been a great day? Well, nothing seemed to go right at all. We asked him, Brian, what went wrong?
We went out this morning and we had basically lost the whole day yesterday with our new car, and we got the Applebee's car out there first thing this morning. We went out and did about 25 laps warming up. Just started running some hot laps. Just had gotten up to 210 pretty easily. Car was kind of loose, and then we lost the motor. Just a valve train problem, and so we took the car back here, put a new motor in it, got back out about 4 o'clock, did 2 laps, had a screw come loose from somewhere. We don't know if it came from the car or came off the track or what, but it got lodged in the butterfly on the throttle and locked the throttle wide open going into turn 1, which is pretty exciting, and I had to shut it off, and I made it around the corner okay, but the screw fell into the motor and then kind of did some damage. So we did 2 motors today, and I think we did about 28 laps.
If it weren't for bad luck, he wouldn't have any at all. These studied eyes belong to Mark Dismore, one of the nicest drivers at the track. Remember, he was involved in that terrible crash last year. And this year, he's slowly moving up to speed. But why aren't they fully running fast?
everybody I talked to today says the track's slower for them, and for us, we consistently went at least our best, and in one instance, a mile an hour quicker. So, I mean, we're going the right direction. It's just slow coming, you know, and it's getting late in the game, and I still haven't turned the boost all the way up, but until we can go through the corners fast, there's no point going down the straightaway fast.
One of the great drivers that's been searching for a ride is former sprint car champion and, of course, the inaugural winner of the Michigan 500, Pancho Carter. Well, today he hooked up with Ron Hemmelgarn and Jonathan Bird, and he will now have a nice car for this weekend. You watch him. He'll hop into it and qualify it, no problem whatsoever. We asked Hemmelgarn, what's the deal with Pancho?
Well, as you know, we've been running Stan in his full loads and getting ready for the race. His T car has been used all week for that. The car is plenty fast enough, and today we decided to put Pancho Carter in the car, and he'll qualify it this weekend, and hopefully get it in the show.
Now, have you ever wondered how do they keep track of all the cars, all the drivers, all the speeds and time? Remember, there are over 60 cars here at the track. Well, that's the duty of the timing and scoring section, and they used to do it with stopwatches. Now they do it with computers, as Mike King reports.
Not so long ago, stopwatches were the primary means of timing here at Indianapolis, but in 1990, computers changed all that. Each car now is outfitted with a transmitter unit like this. It allows the USAC scores and timers to keep track of each and every lap these cars turn during the month of May. 14 on-track antenna points and an additional 4 in the pits constantly feed speeds back to the USAC scoring and timing computer in the tower on the main straightaway.
If you look right here at the start-finish line, on either side of the white line, you'll see a black line cut into the track, and you may also notice then some lines cut laterally. Those are the loops. The timeline is an array of rectangular loops that turns the racetrack into lanes, so that no matter how many cars cross at the same time, each one will register on its own independent antenna, and we'll get those signals simultaneously.
In less than 3 seconds, lap times are recorded and displayed on monitors located in each pit and at locations around the track.
The timestamp that we get from this transmitter signal is accurate to 1/10,000th of a second. We currently are only using thousandths of a second, milliseconds. We're kind of keeping that extra decimal position in our hip pocket for when the cars are going 500 miles an hour around here and we really need it.
As of 2 o'clock this afternoon, nearly 13,000 practice laps have been logged here at Indianapolis, and USAC has a time on all of them. Come race day, the IBM PS2 computer system is one of 4 methods used to keep track of the 33-car field. A semi-automatic computer is also utilized with entries made on each lap. And there are also 2 additional manual systems of scoring where laps are recorded the old-fashioned way, using pencil and paper. On race day, more than 100 people will score the Indianapolis 500. Between them, some 1,400 years of experience. For Countdown to Indy, I'm Mike King.
If you're a VCR,
with us, the 1986 winner of the Indianapolis 500, a 2-time PPG Cup champion, Bobby Rahal. Bobby, welcome. You're in a combined situation this year because you're an owner and a driver, and I guess that means you can eventually fire yourself. How'd you get into this?
This predicament?
Yes.
Well, as far as this year was concerned, it wasn't by plan, although I guess about 2 years ago I started giving more and more consideration to starting my own team, and probably at the beginning of this last year of '91, started putting some things in place, and in September I brought a fellow into my company to sort of make the plans, the financial plans, the operations sort of plans, and because I couldn't do it by myself, I needed a partner, and when we presented the idea to Carl Hogan, who I'd known for many years, and he was all for it. We were talking '93, of course, and then in December, or actually about November, first week in November, Patrick came to me and said, would you be interested in buying the team? And
give me a minute.
Well,
let me go find the money.
Well, it was like, well, of course, my response was, well, it depends on what the deal is,
Right.
But Pat was extremely forthcoming, and initially it was, well, I'd be interested, but we'll have to see. And of course, he didn't really. I don't think he was trying to do everything he could to obviously prevent that from happening. And then I think forces
took control over both of us maybe, and Miller Brewing Company made a commitment to me, and with that we went to Carl and said, hey, how about 92? And he said, let's go.
And it's resulted in one of the most beautiful cars at the track.
Thank you.
And a team that at the beginning of the year I said, this is the only team that's not really out experimenting. I think this is a championship team for the season, if not for the Indy 500. You had a pretty good qualifying run over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, so far, people say, well, it's a new team. Well, it's a new team in name only. As you know, we have people like Jim McGee, who's been here probably at least 30 years and has probably forgotten more than most people know. And of course, Jim Prescott, my crew chief, who's been with me since day one, with True Sports and on up. And so we've had a very good start to the year. I'm very proud of them. And qualifying day was a disappointment to us, only because the car handled so well. We lost some straight line speed, whether it was the conditions or what, I don't know. But the car handled very well, and I think we have a good chance. It's going to be hard for us. All the Chevy runners are going to have to run real hard in the beginning, I think, to stay up with the Fords. But I hope reliability might mean something. That might be an advantage we have.
But your combination has been wonderfully dependable. You walked everybody's dog at Phoenix.
Right. And
so everyone says Phoenix kind of predicts what may in fact happen here. Are you a believer of that?
Well, I think the biggest thing that Phoenix shows is that, especially, there, when it's cool, everybody goes pretty quickly, but the hotter it gets, the fewer and fewer can go that quickly. And I think Indianapolis is the same thing. I think if it is hot on race day, the horsepower advantage that some teams, cars may have, could disappear if their chassis doesn't handle, because I don't care how much power you have, if you can't get it around the corner, it's going to be negated. And so we have to work very hard on having a good handling car. And I think if we do that, we can run not just, we don't have to sit there, I don't think, and wait to pick up the pieces. I think we can run up front. It might be hard, but I think that the tried and true might prevail.
So with the Miller car, once it's qualified, now you're preparing the race setup. What kind of things have you been doing this week?
Well, this week, of course, is much hotter than last week, which is good, because when it is cool, it's easier to get a good setup for the car. So we've been running full tanks, half tanks, running 4, 5, 6, 10 laps at a time, trying to get a feel for what happens to the car as it...
This was you a little earlier. It's Jimmy Vasser in front of you. Looks like you just blew him into the weeds.
Well, and we had an engine that finally gave up the ghost. In fact, not long after this, it stayed together. It didn't blow up, but it really started to lose some power. And the owner and me said, well, hey, they did a leak down, and it was pretty marginal.
Does that become much of a conflict, owner-driver?
No, because when I drove for all the teams, the money side of it always, it affected me whether it was I owned it or not. Because if a team ran out of money, well, I wasn't going to drive the car, and I was never one that if I felt an engine was about to hurt itself, whether by my fault or just from time, what's the point in abusing the equipment? You come in and you say, hey, I think this thing's about to let go and we should change it. So that hasn't changed, but if nothing else, now you have a greater inside knowledge of what's going on and the budgetary process and the costs and what have you. And frankly, for me, it's been a lot more fun.
Well, Bobby, stay with us, because in just a moment, we're going to take a look at Bobby Rahal's greatest moment at the Indy 500, the closest three-way finish.
My job is to drive this race car fast. At the speeds I travel, I can't afford to wear glasses that slide down my nose. I go to LensCrafters because they have so many ways to make glasses fit better, like silicone nose pads that keep my glasses from slipping, and their exclusive featherweights are the lightest glasses I've ever worn. As a race car driver, my life depends on the choices I make. That's why for a perfect fit, I choose LensCrafters.
To getting around town, nothing outperforms your phone. So make the call before you make the drive.
Hey, Orlando, get ready for pro football at its best. Its roughest, back-breaking, bone-crushing best, arena football. Friday night, May 29th, watch as the Orlando Predators prey on the defending champion Tampa Bay Storm. Get your tickets in advance by visiting any Ticketmaster location. It's nonstop entertainment and awesome football stores at the Orlando Arena. So Friday night, be there for the fun, be there for the thrills, be there for the kill.
74-58. Wow, how did you know that?
Wouldn't you like to be able to do math like that in your head? Now, through amazing discoveries and telebrands, meet the human calculator, Scott Flansburgh.
Using my methods, you'll be able to do addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, all in your head.
What's 987 times 954?
941,598.
Very good.
Get better grades in school, keep a running total while you shop, and gain a competitive edge in business. Scott Flansburgh will teach you on this easy-to-understand video cassette. It's only $19.95. Call now.
To order, have your credit card ready and call 1-800-652-2112 or send check or money order for $19.95 plus $4.50 shipping and handling to Human Calculator, 5555 American Way, Roanoke, Virginia.
There's a saying at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway that the man leading at the 190th lap will not be the winner 10 laps later. Well, that was certainly true back in 1986, and Bobby Rahal is more than thankful for it. Tonight's Indy's Greatest Moment is brought to you by GTE, the front runner in telecommunications.
A day-long battle among Bobby Rahal, Kevin Cogan, and Rick Mears would set the scene for a thrilling dash to the finish. From the start, Michael Andretti took the lead and led the first 42 laps. But by the halfway point, Rahal was in the lead, averaging just over 176 miles an hour. Lap 187, coming down the main stretch. Cogan passed Mears, then dove low to pass Rahal, going into turn one for the lead. Rahal remained close, but he was running low on fuel. With 6 laps to go, Rahal was 1 second behind Cogan when Arie Luyendyk spun coming out of turn 4, bringing out the yellow. It looked as if the race would end under caution, but remarkably, the track was cleared for the finish, and Rahal, able to conserve fuel under the yellow, was ready to make a run.
Sometimes a restart is to the advantage of the guy in second, because not only can you judge yourself according to the guy who's starting the thing, but you can get a draft off him. And at a place like Indy, that can have a big effect.
On the restart, Rahal made his move, passing Cogan into turn 1. On the penultimate lap, Rahal's lead was marginal. But running the fastest lap ever in competition at that time, Rahal stretched his lead and took the checkered flag to win the closest 1-2-3 finish in Indy history. It was an emotional victory for True Sports Racing, as team owner Jim Truman's health was rapidly deteriorating.
Not many times in anyone's life can someone make someone else's dream come true. And that day we were able to do that for Jim. And I think that's pretty neat.
1986, the closest three-way finish in 500 history, and another of Indy's greatest moments.
So there it was, worth quite a bit of money to you. The end of that race, though, did you know well in advance that Kevin Cogan was in trouble and that you had a chance at winning that thing?
Well, I think we got balked in traffic, and Kevin was driving brilliantly. He drafted past me, but on the restart, I think our car was always handling better, and he actually jumped me a little bit on the restart, but I was able to get through turn 4 a little better than he was and get into the draft, and that's all it took. And then from there on out, it was just try to put the 2 best laps you could put together.
After that, it seemed like you just caught fire. I mean, you had an incredible momentum. Does Indy do that to you?
Well, I tell you, I was exhausted after Indy, because you went to New York, you went here, you went there. In fact, we went to Milwaukee that next weekend, and I don't think we finished, if I remember correctly, and it was not a very good weekend. And really, things didn't really get going until Toronto, which was in July. But let's face it, when you after that win, as bittersweet as it was, and of course Jim Truman died 10 days later or so, there was a very surrealistic, it was just a little bit of, you know, it was hard, you felt a little bit out of touch with what was going on because you've worked all your life for that, all your career, and then it finally comes to you, and there's a little bit of say, an unreal aspect to that.
Quickly, who are you watching in the 500 upcoming? Who's the big competitor?
Well, I think you've got to look at the Andretti's as being the rabbits. They're going to, I think, run very hard from word go. Of course, the reliability situation's the key there. But the Chevy runners, we haven't seen much of Rick since his accident. Obviously, he's probably hurting a little bit more than was let on. Emerson's always there. It'll be who's got the best handling chassis, I think. And so it'll probably be the normal people. Leuendijk's always gone well here. Right. So it could be anyone in the top, 15 on the grid, I'd say.
Yep. Let's hope that at the end that you're right up there in the front as well.
Thanks, Paul.
In just a moment, we'll come back and look at the excellent job done by the safety crews at the Indianapolis 500. Down to Indy has been brought to you by RCA, changing entertainment again. By LensCrafters, better fit for greater comfort. By Split-Fire spark plugs, more power, more mileage, or your money back. By Cellular Services of Indiana for all your cellular needs. And by GTE, the front runner in telecommunications. Have you ever noticed that when there's coverage of a crash at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, even before the pieces stop bouncing, there's a safety truck weaving its way up to the car? Well, these safety teams are well-trained and remarkably dedicated, and tonight, Sally Larvik takes a look at them.
When the walls of the Speedway ended the rides of nearly a dozen cars this month, the work of the track safety crews began. This is one of two safety vehicles the track dispatches during an emergency situation. Although from the outside it looks to be an ordinary truck, its contents could and have saved many lives. From a backboard placed behind the driver to pull him from the car, to a neck collar always strapped on as a precautionary measure, to water, CO2, and magnesium fire extinguishers, there are 12 vital pieces of equipment carried on this vehicle, with some of the most important being the extrication tools.
These are the large cutters. We can cut anything on the race car. We use these to extricate Nelson Piquet by cutting the top of the car out and laying it over and not trying to injure him any worse than he was. This is what they call a Q cutter, where we can get into tight spaces and cut cables or wire or whatever, and it has a movable head, and it will go over 180 degrees by moving this head.
The truck also carries two spreaders, a smaller one for tight spots and this large model, formerly known as the Jaws of Life, not in use as much these days because of the carbon fiber tubs. Carbon fiber doesn't spread. Seeing this equipment up close is one thing, but watching it demonstrated builds confidence in knowing these drivers are in good hands. Watch how this passenger car is turned into rubble within minutes. But the destruction to the vehicle is all part of the plan.
We tell our people that they do whatever it takes to get that driver out without causing further injury.
In the car?
Secondary.
That's because the six-man rescue crew of each vehicle knows that lost minutes can result in months of recovery time for drivers. This is Sally Larvik reporting.
Years ago, when I was a fully certified paramedic, I worked for Jack Gilmore at the Pocono 500, and during a crash with Eldon Rasmussen, I can remember standing trying to help the injured driver and then realizing I was standing in methanol. They're very, very brave people. I never did it again. Now our news and notes from Gasoline Alley as we take a look at the hot times of today, with Ted Prappus being the fastest among the unqualified drivers at 216 miles an hour. And they started preliminaries in the Miller Pit Stop Contest today. Representing Al Unser Jr., Owen Snyder and his crew, and Danny Sullivan's crew, Paul Harkis in the group. Well, if they're any kind of indication, it looks like the quick time for the pit stop contest will be about 12.5 seconds. We'll see you tomorrow night on Countdown to Indy.